Hello everyone, my name is Ryan van Rensburg, and in this video series I'm going to be taking you through learning HTML and CSS. But before we start, we need to get some tools together. So first of all, the text editor. There are many text editors available, and it's really going to be a matter of personal preference at the end of the day as to which one you choose. I've just selected one to demonstrate to you, and that is the brackets editor from Adobe, and this is the editor that I'm going to be using throughout this video series. So what you can do is go to their website, which is brackets.io, and this editor is actually from Adobe. I'm sure you recognize the name. Adobe are the same company that produce Photoshop and Dreamweaver and Illustrator. The difference with this product is that it is free and open source, so you do not have to pay for it, and it is also platform independent, meaning that it will work on Mac, Windows, as well as on Linux. I actually use Linux, but it really doesn't matter which operating system you use, you'll be able to do HTML and CSS coding. So let's start by downloading brackets. You can just click on download brackets, and that will automatically download brackets for your particular operating system. Otherwise, you can just click on other downloads and then choose a specific download for your operating system. So for example, the deb file is for Debian based Linux systems. This includes Ubuntu, and then your DMG is for your Mac, and MSI is for Windows. So go ahead and choose whichever one is for your operating system. Okay, so I've already downloaded brackets, so I've launched brackets, and this is what it looks like when it opens up for the first time. So this is a sample file written in HTML. Some of it may not look very familiar to you at this point in time, but all I want to show you at this point is some of the features that I look for in a text editor. So first of all, syntax highlighting. So you'll notice that there are different colors here. The tags, for example, are in blue, the attributes are in green, and the values of those attributes are in orange. Of course, you can customize the colors and the themes and so on. The advantage of having the different colors is that it's easy to identify the different parts of the code, and it's also easy to identify your mistakes. So for example, if I remove this closing title tag, the closing head tag actually goes red, indicating that there is something wrong within the section of code. So I'll need to go and close that tag. You'll notice that the tag will automatically close as well as soon as I do a less than sign and a forward slash. The tag is closed automatically because it knew what the opening tag was. So that's a great feature of brackets. Another nice feature is that when you select an opening tag, the closing tag is automatically highlighted, and this makes it easy to identify pairs of tags throughout the document. And then another great feature is the ability to do code folding. This means that if I click on the little drop down, I can expand and contract different blocks of code, and this makes it very easy to work on a specific area at a time. Another great feature is the line numbers down the side. It's not really used too much in HTML and CSS, but in other languages such as JavaScript and PHP, these line numbers become very valuable. Okay, so some other great features of the brackets editor is the live preview. So you'll notice that within an HTML file, you have this little lightning bolt on the right hand side, and if you click on that, it will actually launch the Chrome browser, and the Chrome browser will come up with a live preview of what the contents of this document shows us. And then when you make changes to the code, for example, here's a heading, getting started with brackets, I can actually come in here. Maybe I'll just put this on the top of the page so that you can see. So you'll see that as I change the code here, it's changing in the browser itself, making it very easy for me to see the changes. So that's a great feature of brackets. Another great feature of brackets is the ability to do quick edits. So a quick edit means that if you have an HTML tag, for example, h1, the CSS for that would be in an external file, in this case main.css. We'll talk about this a little bit later. The CSS is essentially your presentational language, and these rules define how things look in terms of fonts and background colors and so on. So you'll notice here is a rule on line 19 for headings. It sets the color of the headings and so on. Now, if I wanted to, within the HTML file, I could just right click and say quick edit, and it will bring up an inline editor for me to edit the rules for the presentation of this heading. So you'll see it says main.css 19, so that's line 19 within that file. And if I just click on that, it will actually take me to that line number within that external file. But the advantage of this is that I don't have to keep switching files. I can just inline edit the CSS rules right within the HTML file. You can also do this to multiple files at a time. So for example, go to the paragraph, do a quick edit, and it also brings up an inline editor for the paragraph. Now here you can see there's currently no rule defined for the paragraph, but it's very easy just to add a rule, and it's going to add it into the main file. And I can just, for example, set the color to aqua. Notice how it also changes immediately in the live preview. Okay, so some great features of brackets. I'll just close that for now. Some other great features of brackets, you'll see on the edit menu, we have the ability to move lines up or down. So the hotkeys next to it. I tend to prefer learning the hotkeys because these are going to save you time at the end of the day. But for now, you can just click on a line of code. For example, let's say I wanted to swap these two paragraphs around. Okay. So all I do is I highlight the paragraph that I want to swap and use that hotkey, which in this case is Control-Shift up arrow. And you can see I'm actually moving the code up and down within the document. This is much nicer than cutting and then pasting. Some other great features. If you highlight a section of code and you use Control-D, it will duplicate the code, which is kind of the same as doing a copy and a paste, but much quicker. Another great feature is the ability to delete entire blocks of code. So you can just click on a line of code and do a Control-Shift-D, and that line will be deleted. It saves having to highlight the entire line and then press delete. Okay, some other great features of brackets is the ability to hover your mouse over a image, for example, and then see a preview of what that image looks like. So if you switch over, for example, to the presentation, the CSS, if you hover over a color, you'll actually get to see what that color looks like. And if you do a quick edit on the color, you'll actually be able to change it in real time. Okay, then the ability to do auto-completion is really wonderful. So if I start typing a tag, you'll see it brings up an alphabetical listing of all the possible HTML tags. And then I can just simply select the tag that I want. So let me, in this case, select a heading 3. And you'll see that it's put the code in. It hasn't yet closed the greater than sign because it's giving me the option to add some attributes. So now I can go and add in a class, for example. Notice that the attributes are also automatically completed. And then I can just fill in the value that I want. So when I'm done, I can just put my greater than sign, and you'll notice it automatically completes the closing tag for me, and then I can just fill in the heading. and you'll see that it's also showing me the result of this in the live preview. And now if I want to, for example, change the color of this heading, I can simply do a quick edit, add a new CSS rule, and change the color to red. And it does it immediately. I'd have to just save it to make it permanent. Okay, so there we go. Just some of the nice features of brackets. Another great feature is the ability to edit multiple lines simultaneously. So that's your multi-cursor. If you just click within an area and you hold in Control, you can click in multiple areas. So now if I start typing, I'm actually changing both lines at the same time. I just press Escape to get rid of the multiple cursors. Okay, another great feature is that if I find a word that I want to change and I just double click on it, I can then find the next occurrence of that word. And in brackets, the hotkey for that is Control B. If you're not sure on the hotkey, you can just go to your edit menu and you'll find it somewhere in that list, or maybe on the find menu in this case. Okay, so Control B means add next match to selection. Okay, so if I press it again and again and again, it keeps finding the word throughout the document. So once I've got these highlighted, as I start typing, it actually changes all of them at the same time. Another good feature you should look for in an editor is the ability to do a search and replace. So you'll see the find menu, you can actually say find, and you can also do replace. So if I want to just do a find, the quick way to do that is just to select a word and do a Control F for find. That will bring up a little search box over here, and then you can keep finding the next version by clicking on the little arrow keys here. And then from here it's very easy to change this into a replace. We can just go to find and then replace, and now we have a place where we can enter the replacement word for that particular word. If you just click replace, it will only replace that occurrence. If you click batch, it goes and replaces. It will do all the occurrences. And here, in fact, you can select which occurrences you want to change. So that's just a brief introduction into the brackets editor. I trust that you will find these features exciting, and you can maybe begin to start playing with brackets. But brackets, as I said before, is not the only editor available. There are many others, and feel free to go and experiment with as many editors as you wish. So that's it for this lesson. In our next lesson, we'll actually start learning about all these tags that you've been seeing in this video.